here we are, another Friday, May 2nd. Here we go into the spring, soon to be summer. You can see the flowers are blooming. Everyone's in a good mood. No one's talking about snow,
Not
talking about
anymore.
tornadoes, stuff like that. I'm here with Art, here with Kevin. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. Ready for, yeah, we're getting spring fever, but we got business to do, so it's all good.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I've been
all
busy. Was out knocking on doors yesterday and worked half the day today and took a little bit of a mental break for the afternoon.
mental break.
Hey.
Did you get a nap room somewhere?
No. Mental break. I'll show you.
Oh, yeah.
All necklaces made out of wampum. That's going to go on my site.
All right, cool.
Handmade?
Handmade.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
From start to finding the shells, shipping the shells, polishing, figure out what works and what doesn't work. So that's
Wow.
my mental break.
Art, you're an amazing person. Yeah, you learn something that you would never known every time I talk to you. You're doing something different. Something always interesting.
Yeah,
It is interesting. And while we're talking about personal hobbies,
Ah,
if you can see it,
Cody Road.
Cody Road, bourbon.
Straight
Cody Road
bourbon.
bourbon. Yes, they're our next shipment out into the Taiwan. We're going to take over Taiwan and bourbon. But these guys, funny enough, are from Iowa, right off the Mississippi River. They're in the town that Buffalo Bill was born in, so that's why it's Cody Road. So there's all sorts of cool stuff there. But they are a classic, I say, farm to bottle to glass. No, they know the farmers of the stuff they put in their bourbon, which is cool, right? So that's my next project. We've got a shipment on the way to Taiwan, which is nowadays is a lot of fun learning what's going on day by day. Hey, John, and the second shipment will go out probably after things settle down with the tariffs. But speaking of tariffs, John, welcome. What's up? And what are you guys hearing about the tariffs impacting our industry, our little niche?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a reality. There, like with every global supply chain, there's different impacts with different devices, different components. Accessories might be from one place, the mainframes might be from another. Who knows what the mix is going to be? But
Yeah,
I can guarantee you it's going to get more expensive. How about that?
and manufacturers are already said there's going to be additional price increases in May and June.
Sure.
So that's interesting, and I'm going to put it out there, everybody, because I don't know if I'm clear on this, but the tariff from China is 145%, right? So if you take a $10 item, that adds another, somebody told me $10.45 to the price of it.
$14.50.
Oh, 14, yeah. So now that product becomes almost $25.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I mean, is that going to happen with the copiers as well? And if the wholesale cost is $3,000 and it's going to get a 145 tariff on it?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming the entire thing comes as is from China.
Well, most of them do.
What I've learned is this funny from being involved with the Taiwan thing is that, yeah, it's stated as 145, but when you get all said and done, it's closer to 200.
Ooh.
Because of the component parts that go into it. The guy explained it to me the other day. It's like, all right, whatever, drink some bourbon. But it's they're feeling it in Taiwan because of all the component parts that come across the channel
Right.
from China. They're getting hit, and it's like an accelerator of some sort, compounded. So it's actually much more. And the whole reason for the tariffs is to change behavior. So what behavior is that price level going to influence? Copier's a good example. Do they still make some Ricos in Costa Mesa?
No, not that I know of.
You're talking about California.
Yeah. Costa Mesa, California.
Well, I mean, make is a strong word.
Assemble.
assemble, open the box, put some new labels in, close the box back up. You know,
Yeah, that's a whole
different,
you're right. Yeah.
there's different levels of interactivity. But Ricoh, some years ago, started to diversify its supply chain to move out as much as possible from China
Yep.
Oh,
to South Korea, to
Thailand.
Taiwan, to other places. That doesn't mean it's not affected. I just don't think it means that it's uh, entirely coming from China. So I think it's some kind of mix. But I mean, who knows? Who knows how long this 145% tariff is going to last? Nobody knows. I don't know.
China was always the target. China
Baffling.
wasn't
Yes.
Canada, whatever. Great Britain, Europe, whatever. Mexico, they're not going anywhere. China was always the target. And it's in, I don't know if you guys saw it. I heard about this morning, has said he's opened up to negotiating. But, but you have to, his thing was, yeah, we'll talk as long as you put a hold on the tariffs. And we're not going to do that. We're not going to do
Yeah, I
that.
thought I read some report somewhere late at night that they just China just dumped the whole boatload of money into their system to offset the tariffs.
Oh,
Yeah,
so,
well, not to offset the tariffs, but to offset their decline
right.
in business.
So they're printing money.
Yeah.
Correct.
Devalue their yuan.
There's no good going to come of that.
Yeah.
That is a bad thing.
Yeah. We got 37 trillion reasons to understand that.
Yeah, we know all about that. They don't have a Doge in sight over there either. Let me tell you. Their Doge is guns and shit. Tanks.
Tanks. Yeah.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
so again, this is because of what I'm doing with my little side project in Taiwan. I learned a lot about what's going on over there
Right.
from a man in the street. And I brought it up to him. I go, well, I've heard talk of regime change. First time I've ever heard anyone say anything close to that. It floated up somewhere. And he goes, well, for as powerful as Xi is, there is an opposing force in China that balances it out. I'm thinking the last time that was, he had the guy killed. And there was a dude, the two people, his number two, and then a number two, like an equal, like a prime minister. He died of a heart attack while swimming, 58 years old.
Uh-huh.
The other guy was just, no, you're done, you're out. And they pulled him out of what do they have, their big communist party with everyone's in the room, and they got hundreds of these communist political party. They pulled him out of that meeting, literally, and never seen.
Wow.
Again. So there's all, that was one little pressure point that if you push someone too far, the military action is not, it's been done for worse, right? I mean, there's been things done for smaller. So, but we'll see.
So
We'll see.
and another thing I was thinking about with the copying machines, especially since probably 80% of all the copiers and scanners and stuff like that are leased. Probably 90% of what's leased is leased at fair market value.
Yeah.
Well, is this going to change fair market value with leasing companies? Because there is no set price. It's what the fair market value is at the time when the equipment wants to buy the equipment, when the end user would like to buy the equipment, or when the dealer, unless there's some pre-dealer agreements that we're going to buy it for X amount of price. So is that going to play in the future if these tariffs don't go away? Is the used equipment going to be more valuable?
That would make sense. I mean, the equipment that's already here in the US isn't going to get retroactively tariffed. So I would think that those machines anything that's still in America would all automatically become more valuable, right? I would think.
That's what I'm
That would
thinking.
make sense to me.
As long as the price increases keep on going and going, higher and higher, MSRPs go higher and higher.
Yep.
I'm thinking FMVs are going to go right along with it,
I would guess. I would
right?
guess.
And recently I heard about the price increases, but I've also heard about now there's some pressure on the leasing companies again to raise rates again,
Oh,
which is pretty interesting because if anything, I thought after this amount of time, some rates would start to come down on leasing.
For an existing lease, is it like an adjustable rate that would change at any time, or you're fixed for a certain
Well,
So,
so that
you're fixed during the term.
Right.
Your price is your price,
yeah.
right? Aside from maintenance and supplies, some companies will build maintenance and supplies into the lease. But it's the question at the end of the lease, fair market value, what equipment is at that certain time, what that value can be.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, because that's a big 145%. Like that's major difference, right? The fair market value and then the
Good point.
the new, to buy the new stuff is going to cost 100, well, 1.5 times, right?
mhm.
That's
Yep.
big difference. So yeah, the existing equipment that's already here is going to have like it's going to be more and more precious. I know in the old days in distribution, like this specific hard drive, for example, if it went end of life, then there was a shortage of that, and you couldn't get them. They become more valuable, even though they're outdated, they're out of spec,
Right.
they're overpriced. But man, they got more valuable, even though they were like bad, old technology. It was crazy.
It's like the old chips in the cars during the COVID, right?
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Huh.
taking chips out of the washing machines.
Interesting. Well, I know
Mm,
that didn't Canon announce they were going to
yes.
boost prices like the day after someone said we might do tariffs. So
Um,
yeah,
their notification, well, in press, it just came across early last week.
well, someone did it right away. I remember, and we did it on the show. Going, that's convenient. I think we were calling it profit taking at that point. Because
Well, there are a couple manufacturers back with the first salvo, which was about 30 days ago,
okay,
before the big jump went to 145,
right,
where most of your manufacturers had instituted their price increases, and each manufacturer was a little bit different. Don't quote me, but going from memory, I heard HP 15% across the board. I heard Toshiba was going to have 7% early and then 7% late in the year. Of course, Ricoh had their increase. And I'm not sure about some of the distributors where a lot of the Xerox dealers buy their machines from.
and those are increases well before the price increase works its way down the supply chain. Right? I mean, they're working on parts they bought before the tariffs. So there's got, I mean, I think, I mean, I know a lot of it is just in time. So maybe that is real. Huh.
Good.
Well,
Well, many of them could have, they put a date in, our prices are going to increase by,
yeah, they can do whatever they want. Right. Yeah.
yeah, let's say it was April 13th, and whatever they had in stock
Yep.
pre-tariff,
Yep. So that's
had the
profit
price
there.
increase.
Yeah. All right. Well, just start making them in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I bet they got a lot of land and empty buildings they could get real cheap.
Hey, that Lexmark headquarters is still available.
Yes. Now, I don't think the copiers manufacturing will ever come back to the U.S.
What was it? Armonk? Isn't that where Xerox was out of in New York? Or is that IBM? That might be IBM.
That was IBM.
I get those two
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah. Xerox was already out of where the North New York, upstate.
Upstate New York.
Yeah, upstate.
Yes. Schenectady, maybe.
Could be.
Oh, they can bring back the Edgeline manufacturing out of Boise.
I'd rather keep the
Oh,
humanoid
really?
in Oregon.
There's something there. Humanoids, huh? Wonder how
Uh,
that would work. Well, okay, so anything new? Let's see. You guys hit anything new this week on the industry? Any mergers, acts, anything? I can't think of any. So
I'm just going through some notes here.
I will. Well, I can think of something, but I don't know if it's nothing new. The whole AI LLM thing is still on fire and gets hotter every day, it seems. Um,
There's
wow.
there's no getting away from it. Like I know you're on a rampage there, Greg, about doing something, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, just you gotta do something. Like it's not gonna be. There's no blueprint for this, right?
There is you. Yep. Yep.
So everybody's learning together, but you gotta get involved, and that's all there is to it, right?
You really do. I'm involved with a lot of what I would say bleeding edge AI groups. I mean, and it's one meets every single day, and
Yeah,
every single day it's something new. The other one's weekly, more global, and more on the creative side. Those guys, Hollywood is just in trouble. There's just
yeah,
no way around it. The whole creative process is being shifted. Everything from how cameras move, how the film moves, how characters are developed, to how copyrights are generated, trademarks, all that stuff. It's just upside down, and nobody knows really where it's going to land. And a lot of people think it's just going to, there's going to be no such thing as a trademark or a copyright, which is crazy. We cover copyrights and trademarks and stuff is in the Constitution. I didn't know
yeah.
that. I learned that. So,
Hmm.
you've got a bunch of, and I just saw something this morning, some show somewhere, I think it was in England, was a I forget, but where the writers and creators are really getting, you're taking my content, this is what they're saying, and training your LLM on a book that I wrote. I didn't get compensation for that. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
a it's a very slippery slope. It's a very
Yeah.
it's going to be all kinds of lawsuits and patent infringements and all kinds of stuff that it needs to be
it,
figured out, right?
well, this
I don't know.
just it. It won't.
Yeah,
By the time it goes to court, it's too late.
yeah,
The genie's out of the bottle, dude. You cannot. And I've been saying it. Once it's between somebody else's ears, it
yeah.
isn't yours anymore.
If I read a book, it's my intellectual property here, right?
Right.
So,
It's your
uh,
interpretation of it. And you're right. You draw the same conclusion, the
mhm,
same metaphor, the same analogy. Once the LLM is trained on the book, once my brain reads it, my interpretation, my inspiration is mine. I read your book. I read a million other books. Now I can create something that could look identical. It may not, right? But the inspiration is there. And now when your LLM, I hate to say it gets inspiration. And here's the other thing that people miss is that the LLM is only being trained on patterns. It's not the actual content.
yeah, that's yep. I know
So
it's interesting, yeah.
it is. It's like, wow.
I know I was feeding my LLM some stuff and it was getting some stuff wrong. And I'm like, no, I just told you that. I was like in capital letters and bold. And I was like, no, I just told you. And it's like, I'm sorry. And then it learned it, but I had to reinforce the training like 3 times, right? I'm like, I was so pissed off at it. Like, I already told
Hmm.
you this.
You were yelling.
I was. I was.
Which,
Thank goodness it didn't yell back, right?
well, which is part of the evolution.
Oh,
The
so that's going
part
to be
you
part of the
just went
future?
through makes it even more human.
Yeah.
I know. It's like if you hired someone fresh out of college or whatever, you'd have to tell them 3 or 4 or 5, 7, 12 times, don't use the M dash.
Yeah.
So
All right.
your LLM is going
Always
to.
cite your sources. And then they'd come through. Are those sources real? You'd ask them. It's like, okay, show me the quote until I can trust you that you pulled this out. Show it to me. Oh, okay, that's right.
And I was really nice at first. I was like saying, please do this. And I was like talking to it like a human. And then like I got so mad that I wasn't even saying please and thank you. And it like got the message. It got it. It was like, I'm so sorry. I'll never do that again.
Oh my God.
It was apologizing to me. And different versions of the LLM. One's got like Grok's got a sense of humor, Gemma's
Oh
got a
yeah.
sense. Llama is like very straightforward, just like to the point. So you have all this. You have a personality with the LLM too. It's really it's amazing.
God.
I wonder if you can get a curmudgeon personality for some of these LLMs.
Yeah, you can. Who did I profiled? What's his name? Kanata. No, who's the guy from Chicago?
Right.
Our guy, who's always
Earl.
not Earl, the other one,
Right.
Pulse.
Who?
Who does Pulse? Pulse
Pulse?
imaging.
Oh, I don't know.
Either way, yeah, but you can get the curmudgeon. Well, of course, I only use Chat GPT, so I don't know what the other guys are doing.
That's all I use as well.
Yeah, and I've got at least right now I've got 10 different writing personalities that I assign certain jobs deals to. As a matter of fact, now that we're talking about it, of course we can't avoid it. I did something this week with it. So, a CRM, right? And then in the olden days it was ACT. In the olden days it was your Rolodex, your tickler file, right? So your sales rep was literally in charge of his territory. Walk around on
Yep.
paper. I'm sure you did it too, right? You had the book full of business cards.
Oh yeah.
What was that guy's phone number? Okay, perfect. Boom. And that's how everyone, then Franklin planners. It was all handwritten until a couple of applications came out. One was called Act, Maximizer, Goldmine, Telemagic. And these were designed for salespeople to manage their sales cycles on a computer. Right? That's really what it was. Act even had an auto dialer, so you could go to an account and say dial, and it would dial the phone for you before you picked it up. That's but it was yours, right? It was Novell networking. There wasn't a peer-to-peer. There wasn't a central database, right? I had mine. Joe Blow had his. Everyone had their own, and honestly, a lot of these salespeople just bought it outright. It was $80 or something, or 100, whatever it was.
Right.
So literally, when they left one company, they brought their act with them, whole database, whole history, everything. That lasted for maybe 3 or 4 years until it got connected. And then what happens with these contact managements is they got integrated up so that upper management can now manage and monitor all of their salespeople and all of their. It just destroyed the whole creativity and innovation of having your own autonomy. I think it's one of the great downfalls, but it's the CRMs. So the other day I asked Chat GPT, and this some of the projects that we're working on, reaching out to different companies, how getting profiles on Chat GPT. I said, hey, listen, could you be the CRM in this? Summarize the last 6 months of all my contacts and everything with all these prospective people I've been talking about. Boom.
Wow.
On this date you did this. On this date you did this. Do you want to find a follow up for that? Did you? And I'm importing all the Firefly notes from all the meetings that I have.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. Everything's there.
And that's all from the new memory they added.
It's
correct?
from the new memory, right? Yep. But it's all there. And what's nice about it is it summarized it, gave me action plans, suggestions, talk tracks, scripts. Do you want to turn this into a newsletter? Do you want to turn this into a
Yes,
Google?
it's crazy now. All the offerings are absolutely crazy on what would you like to do next with this? I can give you this, that, or something else.
Every single thing I asked it to do, I said, okay, that's great. Put it in the spreadsheet with that information. Boom, up came a spreadsheet. Now I can take that down and download it in Excel. Okay, take those 12, generate. I want to reach out to each one on LinkedIn. I want to write an email for each one. Generate a separate one for each one, separate this, that, and boom, boom. Now I'm, obviously I didn't like some things, so I pulled it out, but still. And then I said, okay, I get it. I sent these guys this guy. I would tell it what I did. So now it knows that they went out. So in 2 months or a month or a week from now, I say, hey, what did I do with this? Well, this is what you did. And this is what you said you did. So, oh, wow. Wow.
Interesting. I was able to help John out about a week and a half ago.
Yes.
Oh, really?
It was
Do tell.
kind of amazing. We were preparing for the last quarterly meeting we had this week. One of the other employees and I were getting ready to do a kind of I'm saying introduction, a talk track for document management.
Okay.
And I said, Art, I want to, one of the things I wanted to show them was the difference between our document management system and Teams, or not Teams, SharePoint.
SharePoint. Yeah.
Just to get in their heads that we offer, solutions to fit every need.
Mhm.
And it was fantastic. It was a summary. It was all I was looking for. It was a summary in format that I could understand. It was very easy to show in a presentation, and it was perfect. It was seconds.
Right. And then you could even wordsmith it
Yeah.
from that point,
Yeah,
right?
but it was correct though. I mean, it was.
I know.
I didn't have to fix
I know.
anything. It's just, it was amazing. If and if I had to do more from that point, just maybe focusing on one topic or one section, or I could have done any kind of a presentation for any targeted audience.
Well, and then they've got the new research. So when I can ask for TAM of certain industries, and it'll pull that out. Competitive pressures on certain industries, competitive pressures between prospects. Who do they compete with? What do they,
Interesting.
what are their challenges? And then it'll go, well, these are their challenges, and a copier salesman would be able to address on its own in this specific project, because it's a copier salesman project. It knows that that's their mission, is to help copiers people sell more copiers. The system knows that. So whenever I'm asking them questions about it, it ties it back in. It's kind of freaky.
It's
Right?
really
I mean,
it's really great though, because these are all great examples of making us more productive. But
Yes.
100%.
but it's not replacing us. And I did have a debate with somebody on LinkedIn, but somebody made a real comment. And when we're creating AI, some people say, you're limiting people's jobs and stuff, and that might be the case in certain situations. Yes, I agree. Like we talked in other shows, like robots. In a car assembly, a robot is replacing a person. But in these cases, we're not at a stage where it's going to replace every single job, right? It's making us more productive. So, John, when you did your presentation, right, you didn't have to spend useless time to get this the way that you wanted to produce it.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it not only saved you time, but it gave valuable content to the people that you were presenting to, right? So you
Right.
didn't waste their time
Right.
too. So it's like this cycle
Yep.
of
Wow,
productivity.
Kevin.
Yep.
That's
And the more productive a company is, the more revenue
That's
they
right.
attain, the higher revenue they attain, the higher profits they attain, and then they get to grow their business. And how do they grow their business?
And funding your 401k and getting your job done so you get your job done so you can go to your kids' school play, soccer game, whatever, right? So the quality of
Right.
life can be better, I mean, through technology, and that's really,
absolutely. Yeah.
really great.
So John, you did more than just
Yeah, see?
present.
Boom.
You made people's lives better.
There you go.
I hope so. I hope they went out the next day and knocked
That
on a
is
couple extra doors, because they knew what the difference was between SharePoint and document management.
Well, you gave them the opportunity, hopefully
Yes.
without boring them, finding some
that's
relevance
true.
in,
Very true.
that the LLM allowed you, or enabled you, or whatever you want to say. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal of technology sales. It is selling a copier that prints, that does 45 pages per minute instead of 15, means that lady or that person doesn't have to miss his kid's recital.
Yep.
Right?
That's
Doesn't,
true.
you don't have to
Very
go in
true.
on a Saturday to print everything out for the corporate meeting on Monday morning. It's been
Right.
done 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Those are what we've always sold. I don't think if anyone's articulated that, but that's what it is. It isn't, it's a fast machine that does duplexing and blah, 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 7 sticks of xerography and copy press versus who the hell gives a shit? Can I still go home and eat dinner with my wife?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Work.
actually you can.
But,
So, well,
there's a joke in there somewhere. That's why people buy the 15 page per minute. Maybe it takes long.
Well, now you want to talk about AI and relationships. I got a whole freaking book full of stuff we can talk about.
I picked up a couple of weeks ago that Chat GPT actually added a document library, which I think is fantastic. So any of the graphics that you create,
Oh,
actually go into a folder called your document library,
yeah.
which is, I don't have to, save it anywhere. All I know is I can go back to this and that image is going to be there. And all I have to do is download it, which is pretty interesting. And just today, I started to use it for, I got a lot of conversations back and forth with clients, how does this work? How does that work? Why is the leasing company doing this, or service is doing that? And, they'll email me and ask for help. And I'm going, okay, all of this is good, but I think I'm losing out on the conversation. So I had Chat GPT actually develop me a short paragraph for asking for referrals that I'm now slipping into the bottom of every email. Oh, by the way, so I'm hoping that's going to help me out with more referrals in the future. But all different ways. All you got to do is think, right? All you got to
That's
do
all.
is be a little creative.
Yeah.
All we have to do is do what we do every day. That's the biggest, dirtiest little secret about using LLMs. You and I have talked about it. There's no yellow book LLM for dummies. There's no 15-month boot camp. You just got to sit there and do what you do and ask. That's it.
Right.
You guys know that. You guys is the perfect example of, well, I don't know. Well, maybe, and off you go. That's what happens. And right now, ChatGPT is levels above everyone else. Gemini, all of them in usage. There's a
Right.
reason. There's a reason, because the Geminis and all the other ones aren't as good at the interface, and they aren't as good even at the research. Some of them, you can get a debate on it, whatever.
Right.
But for the everyday user, which is going to be
Right.
everyone.
So I had to go through it. I had to go to a test earlier this week. And it was watching a half-hour video, which I didn't have time to watch a half-hour video, and then go download this document that was taking forever to download on my PC. It's like, okay, why don't I feed the video into Chat GPT
Oh no.
and ask it, tell me what I'm looking for.
Oh no.
Well, I'm sorry to say it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
But I'm waiting for the day when it will work.
All right. No, it didn't work. But there's
No,
a workaround around that. So I do this all the time. It's a little secret, right? And I did it with Ray, and I did it with Andy. I even do it with this show here. I take the transcript.
Okay.
I throw it up in the GPT and say, listen, summarize this for me, and then pull out 2 good topics that you could write an 1,100-word article about. And the summary's worth it. It's like, because Ray, I don't want to listen to 45 minutes of rant. I want to go, who are you hitting? What's going on? All right, boom. Mike Stamalio interviewed, or one of them was interviewing Andy. I got a whole article out of that. A whole article.
So
Right.
they're using Fireflies as well?
I just need the transcript.
Right.
YouTube has the transcript.
Understood. Got it.
Now that's a fix.
That's a neat way to pull it up.
Yeah, and it does, and it cycles through. It summarizes. The more I use it under that project, the more it knows what to look for.
Right.
It's crazy. But there's going to be a day when the LLMs can hear and pull the transcript out of the actual words. And there's already services out there that do it, right? That will take I don't know how they do it, an audio file and turn it into a transcript. So there's already a third party out there that'll do it. But that's
that's how Google's doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or YouTube.
Yeah, it's out there. Yeah. So, but imagine, so for all those training videos, for all those things, like, right, you hit on it. I don't want to sit in a freaking 2.5-hour video of how to whatever, because half the shit is boring anyway. It doesn't apply. It's irrelevant.
Correct.
So if I've got a GPT or a project that knows what I'm looking for, and I say summarize, it knows it's going to summarize for me what is typically information for me, not erroneous stuff. And it does it. I'm done being amazed because it's always amazing.
We're just on the cutting edge too, though. It's
Oh.
just, I mean, the LLM itself is just a model, right? So it still needs to be trained a lot on specifics, you know, and that's still the last mile that needs to be done, right? Because they're broad, they're general, they've crawled the internet for public information, right? So still to train it about like your own business and your own create a digital twin of yourself, you know, what I know the Google and the a lot of index about me and my social security numbers floating around and all my relationships and stuff are floating around for sure.
God, I hope not.
Well, there's been a lot of data leaks, right? AT&T, thanks. Yahoo, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Equifax, thanks. You know, so yeah. But
It's just patterns.
So, Greg, here's something for you. Kevin and I were talking about this before we went live. I'm going to go back to robots and humanoids. There's in Jacob Javits in New York City on September 22nd. They've got a show for robots and humanoids.
Oh, they just had one here in Detroit.
Really? And
Wow.
I can't make it, but that'd be a good way to
At the Javits, huh? Yeah. Wow.
see the YouTube videos that are posted and summarize.
You know what? At this point, you're right. It's like, I hate to say it, don't really need to go to shows. I know.
Well, they need to be live streaming, or you need to be able to get the videos still, right? So there's still
Right. But let me put it to
value.
you this way: if it
Yeah.
doesn't hit video, it's not relevant.
True. Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's even more. I mean, that's terrible to say, but
Hey, there is a trend. The RSA conference was out here in California this week, as a matter of fact. RSA is for it's for cybersecurity stuff, all this encryption and authentication. But of course, the conference was all about AI, of course, but a very specific kind of AI. And the summary that I heard, I didn't go to it, but I heard that in everybody's zest to create an AI, right? You're just feeding it data, but now a lot of people are concerned about polluting this database, right? With wrong info intentionally, or hackers come in and they start and they start training your AI. So there's this emerging market of security market to review and sanitize your data before it goes into the actual LLM. So it's like changing the whole security industry too, is that instead of traditional security, it's applying security to your data. It's pretty interesting, but how you use AI to make your AI safe. So it's like this vicious circle of never ending, cleaning up your data, making sure your data is clean and authentic and doesn't have PII data and DSS data. So there's all kinds of applications. Every single conference is about AI, but it's a different kind of application. Instead, I remember a couple of years ago, everybody's just saying, "Oh, generative AI." They would say that term, and then what the hell did that mean, right? But now people are getting defined use cases for AI, LLMs, and applying it to use cases. So that's very, very encouraging to see that we're getting focused.
it's wow, there's a lot there. The one thing that doesn't even matter is they're applying it in a silofication, because with AI there are no silos. There aren't. And what we're trying to do is digest something we can't understand, so we start to slice and dice it into different subjects, different silos. It's like the old accounting system. I need a payroll, I need an accounts receivable, I need a purchase order, I need a job costing, I need inventory control. Well, AI just blows through all. I need security. The security thing is kind of getting me upset, because I think, like I said earlier, it just studies meta and patterns. It doesn't study Greg's social security number, right? I'm a piece of meta out there, right? And then when you train it, you're training it on patterns. So yeah, you could have polluted patterns generated if someone injects a huge amount, but we're talking about such a huge amount that injecting bad patterns should wash out, right? And
But
then then it also says the security thinks that your stuff is unique, that you have privacy.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Mhm.
That is not true. There is no more privacy. There is, and that's the biggest thing about artificial intelligence right now. We're going to end up finding out that there was never any originality. There was just events that occurred without connectivity. There's no original. There's nothing left. We're imitating nature, and nature's been here before the beginning of time. That's another thing. So the security thing, like, yeah, I get it. You got a whole industry. What's the security industry? A couple $1 trillion worth of money. We're not going to give that up. We're going to scare people into this, and it's perfect, right? You got the
Oh, yeah.
Terminator, you got Hal, you got all this fear. I mean, I don't blame them,
So
but
interesting. So nature evolves over time,
yep.
over long periods
And
of
there's
time.
nothing you can do about it, right? We're part of it.
Correct.
We're a victim too, and we're an
Correct. Takes
influence on it.
millions of years for things to change.
Well, not anymore.
Interesting.
Not
How
anymore.
quick AI changes everything.
Yeah. You got to watch, if you want to watch how AI integrates with the biology of things. That's it. When you see people saying, well, we can manipulate molecules at the nano level, that's what what? AI is going to help us, train cells. What? That's stuff to look out for, because that gets right into the convergence of quote machine and man, and it goes, blow your mind from there. And this isn't science fiction. That's what's so crazy about it. Stuff that you couldn't believe just in the 70s that was way out there is like on our doorstep, if not in a lab somewhere. Anyway, you got me going now, guys. Anyway, I don't know how it would help us sell more copiers.
Well, what was that thing on Star Trek?
The replicator.
Replicator. So if we had replicators, we could replicate copiers and not have to pay tariffs.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Amen.
Well, we should start selling replicators.
So I'll hit you with a couple of news points for last week that I was up here on the screen. Xerox did their first quarter results.
Yeah. Tell me. I haven't looked into that.
Revenue of 1.46 billion, down 3%. Adjusted net loss of $4 million or 6 cents per share.
Jesus.
Adjusted operating margin of 1.5%. Yikes.
The operating margin is 1.5.
Adjusted operating margin of 1.5%, 70 basis points lower than year over year.
I thought they did a bunch of cuts. Didn't they do a bunch? Well, wait, is the Lexmark thing in there?
No, not yet.
Oh, shit.
Not yet. Operating cash flow of 89 million, down from $10 million last year. Free cash flow, and I don't know how to understand that, was 109 million, but that's lower by 20 million over the previous year.
Shit.
I heard KM revised their numbers too.
Yes.
Down a lot.
Yeah. They had to take that, what do they call that? That loss, or a certain term they use for that.
Oh, wait. Yeah. One of my guys Celeste wrote an article about KM.
Mhm.
It got like 15,000 views or something like that on LinkedIn.
Huh.
Nice. Definitely got out there.
I did what I did with Ray's stuff. I took Ray's transcript and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a good video on that one.
I cranked it out on that. But I shouldn't. So I'm not really ripping him off. I took what he said, and I said, okay. And I did Chat GPT 03, the big research one. I said, boom, go at it. Take this transcript, find the subject that makes sense, and deep dive into it. And it did. And then a few other iterations, but yeah, it took off. It's weird. Anything with Konica Minolta in it, any of the big OEMs, the network responds pretty quickly.
That's good.
It's true.
So other news, just a headline, humanoids and robots, $5 trillion market.
Wow.
That's with a T.
Wow.
Trillion, all in caps.
Yeah,
Anything
you know
else?
what?
Anything else?
I might have some stuff for you.
No. Xerox's new dealer first strategy, which I believe they announced at their show they had last year. But it's interesting. I thought it was interesting that they used new dealer first strategy.
No kidding.
Yes.
And they actually said that?
Yeah, the headlines is Xerox new dealer first strategy. I might have pulled it. I'm not sure where I got it from.
You mean instead of your existing dealer channel, we're going to favor the new ones? Is that the
No,
juxtapose?
it's their new strategy,
Oh,
right?
okay.
It's dealer first, America first.
Yeah. Okay. As opposed to direct.
The direct, yeah.
Do they have a direct presence?
They do, but it's been really down over the years. They gave all of that business to
Yeah. Who bought that?
the dealers. They bought those dealers.
Which was the big one? Was it? It wasn't Dex, was it? Who?
No, it was
Did Xerox buy Global?
Global.
yeah, Xerox bought Global years ago. So all of those global companies are
Did
now
Global buy
Xerox.
back? Is Global separate now? Or is it still part of Xerox?
Still
No,
part
as
of
far as I know,
Xerox.
it's still part of
Oh, it was
Xerox.
Dex. Was it Dex who bought back from Staples?
Yes, Dex
Okay.
bought back from Staples. Yeah.
You know
So
what?
I thought that headline was interesting. Canon reported, of course, on their in tariffs. Epson had something in there about their SCARA robots, which are basically in manufacturing facilities. They're pretty much robotic arms, right?
For picking parts and moving things, or
Yeah, picking parts and moving things. I think they may even have some. I think they're involved in the car manufacturing
makes sense.
business.
I stumbled. Well, go ahead, Art.
No, I'm just looking if there's
Well, I stumbled upon a new niche. Car parking robots. You guys seen these things?
Or are they the things that go underneath the car and then
Oh yeah, and move them like to the other side of the street if a street cleaner has to. Was that in Japan?
It's China.
China,
China's
okay.
got these things. So, like, if you go to, you're going on a trip and you want to store your car in this huge parking lot, they'll send it out there. So, if your car is buried, these little thingamajiggers and they're flat, zip in, hook up, move the cars, boop, 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 and it's crazy.
Yeah.
What I found interesting was, that looks very interesting. We've been doing it in Long Beach for at the docks for the containers.
right.
That
I've
whole
seen
thing is
those.
automated. Well, New Jersey and the East Coast, the whole thing is automated. I had no idea. The containers come down and they're moved all over the place by these robots. But the car robots, there's I think 3 in the U.S. Florida, New Jersey, and New York. I think is where they're actually manufactured here. That's not a bad little niche to look at, right? I mean, I guess unless all the cars go away. Anyway,
Yeah.
that just popped up on my radar today.
Hmm.
Actually, Art, if you can, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
the anticipation's killing me here. What's
Well,
Greg
Bear,
gonna share?
bear with me. I'm doing it.
It's not that exciting, but
Come on,
I
all
appreciate
right.
it.
Share.
Drum roll, please.
There we go.
Okay, I want to share that right there. See if that works.
Oh,
Okay,
I sent you that picture. Yeah.
so there's one picture, right?
Yeah.
Now, how do I? Oh, wow, this is all nuts. Forgive me because I really. Here's the next picture.
Ah,
Do you know how long it took me to scale the size, make sure the sun came up and the shadows are casted correctly.
Oh,
And
you,
One
you
s-
did it.
1
I did
second.
that.
Yeah.
I did that.
And how long have you been a graphics artist?
7 seconds.
Exactly.
Ah!
See, there you go. So you didn't have to learn Photoshop, didn't have to learn
Oh, I was doing all
anything.
this
Yeah.
PageMaker back in 1991.
Wow.
So you had me going with that because I know
Wow.
you sent it earlier to me.
Uh,
Hey,
that
do you
there
know these people?
no. So that's
No.
why I'm keeping it between us. It's like I was gonna post it,
Yeah, I know.
but
Yeah, you can't tell. You can't tell it's fake. Like it's just so genuine.
isn't that
Yeah.
nuts?
Yeah.
Nuts. So I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
ugh. But my point here was to drive the interest in the dealer channel to resell robots.
Mhm.
correct.
All right. And then so I've got a bunch of other pictures. These guys send their pictures of their demo floor, right?
Right. I saw a
Rico,
couple of
Xerox,
those. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna put a bunch of Rico, Xerox, DSI, or whatever, all the Androids right next to them.
Yeah, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So if you could get like if they can imagine that, then it takes the conversation in a totally different direction, right? Yeah.
I agree. And
Yeah.
it's twofold here, guys. So this is a piece that I would hit our channel with, but that's a real robot. That's shit, I forget who made it. Apathic Tech or whatever.
And it looks like similar to the agility robot.
It looks agility. They're all starting to look a little bit of, but right. So that's a specific real robot that I would hit that manufacturer up with that picture and say, hey, we got a channel here ready to go. You guys want to talk, or do you want your competitor to talk to us? That
Right.
kind of talk track.
Smart.
But I couldn't believe it. Seriously, maybe it took me 3 or 4 minutes.
I know. It's
Wow.
amazing. See, that's what I was getting. Makes everybody productive, right? And you're delivering value to the people that you're
I
communicating
think
to
so.
just
Right?
more effectively. So it's more convenient for you. It's more better for them. You get the job done quicker, and then people can make a decision. Maybe they don't want to do business with you, but at least that's on the table. It's done. You're
That's
not
it.
fooling around with stuff, right?
The world of choices. You got to give them
Yeah.
the choice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. And then and again, you got to be prepared for any choice they make.
Yeah.
They go with you, they don't go with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a free world. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I was really amazed that less than 2 minutes I could do that. And then I might have sent it to you, Art, is you can make it move. There's, I could have that robot walking around them.
I seen some of the videos you were posting on LinkedIn. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, there's like a showroom with the robot, and that looked so like appealing.
Isn't it?
It looked energizing and futuristic and modern.
Well,
But
30 years of a graphic designer in the sci-fi industry, that will give you that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
Interesting.
had to learn CGI and all that kind of stuff before.
Yes. Yeah. CGI. Right.
So what's everybody got planned for the weekend? Anything interesting, Kevin?
Hmm.
Yeah, probably building a robot and training a robot. Probably fun stuff like that.
Okay, there, Dr. Frankenstein.
I'm all into it. Yeah, probably talking to my LLM more. Like it's still not getting things right and getting things wrong and hallucinating a little bit. Hallucinations still happen. It's making up phone numbers on stuff, and I like it's not. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not the phone number. It's wrong, right? I'm telling you. so get it right. So but that's what I learned is that to your point earlier, Greg, like when you upload data, it doesn't like sometimes it's not convinced of it. I don't know what, but it's that reinforcement that you have to train it over time, and you have to, it was making certain assumptions. So anyways, I'll just be working on technology this weekend and dealing with my
Awesome.
5 animals. Yeah.
There you go. How about you, John?
Not too much. If the weather's good, we're probably going to go out and start we usually go on walks on the weekends, go to some parks around the Harrisburg area and do a little exploring, take the dog out and stretch our legs. And that's about it.
Well, that's always fun.
It's when the weather's nice, it's awesome. It's been really nice last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Greg, you'll be watching that boat with the long trip over to Taiwan, I guess.
Yeah, I've got it. It's still moving, so that's good. Don't have to go near Somalia or through the straits there. There's no war zone yet, although now that you mention it, China is doing another around the island military drill. So, but anyway,
Yeah,
no,
we're
today I think this weekend I'll break out the bike. So I'll get back on the trails. I think it's going to be nice enough to do that.
nice. We're gonna have a weekend of crappy weather.
Uh,
No.
Yeah, thunderstorms, rain, heavy rain,
Hmm.
bad storms. Friday, it's a Sunday, cloudy, wind off the water, which the water's like what 45 degrees. So it's gonna be a lot of good weekend for me to get a lot of computer
well, I would
stuff done.
recommend that you do what Kevin was going to do. Strike up a conversation
Yeah, there you
with
go.
your
I-
G, with
I
your
might-
LLM.
Try that, and I might add, could you be more like a curmudgeon in my answers?
Oh my God, do it, Art. It'll
And
be
see
so
what
funny.
happens. So if I'm not around by Monday, I think you'll know what happened. But everyone, it's been a great show today. I want to
Good
thank
job.
everyone for coming on board. Kevin, John, Greg, and I always have a lot of fun with this, and we always appreciative of you guys coming on board.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll be here next weekend, next Friday for our show.
Holy crap! Next Friday's my birthday.
And we'll be here with a birthday cake for Mr. Walters.
Oh shit!
He turns 35.
Yes, 35.
So I'm not sure.
Who did? What?
Early birthday.
Thank you. I just realized that.
Celebration.
Holy crap! Yeah.
There you go. So I'm not sure. I think next week we're going to stick to MFBs and technology for another week. I'm on vacation. Actually,
Oh yeah.
when am I on vacation? 2 weeks. Bahamas. Yes. So most likely, I don't think I'll be in any shape to have a meeting on the 16th because I'll be poolside and probably have a lot of tequilas in me. at that
Oh,
point
I
in
love
time.
it. All right.
Then we'll be back on the 23rd and look for the 23rd to be our second robots and humanoids. Also, on the 21st, if you're seeing a video, hearing the video, send us a DM. Kevin, Art, yeah, that's me, Greg, a DM, and we'll send you an invite for that for our meeting for the concept of a robot helping out MFP dealers.
It's gonna be good. Cool.
It's going to be great.
Yep.
With that, thanks everybody for tuning in. Please like, follow, and share, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys.